Hi. So, I want to talk a little bit about the book that I'm writing. I'm writing a book on dark personalities. And I find that it's really interesting because a lot of people, they'll focus when they write things on dark personalities, they'll focus on, because I've read books on this kind of things, they'll focus on one particular thing. They'll focus on like serial killers, they'll focus on dark personalities in the workplace, they'll focus on, a certain kind of topic. And I'm really focusing on, as I'm writing this, how they're developed. Because dark personalities sometimes they can be serial killers. Sometimes they can just be, your everyday person that's in the workplace, like a manager. So I'm really talking about how we can develop to become a dark personality and how it impacts belonging. So as I'm writing this, and it's, again, this is more from a belonging perspective, and I'm also writing this kind of also from the aspect of cults because this impacts so many things in our world, because again, this is a belonging perspective. I am starting to watch like a cult like situation start to happen, and I'm going, whoa, wait a second here, what is going on? And I had to take a couple of steps back, and I really had to sit back and process the information, because I was like, okay, what is really going on here? Because in that, there were some things that happened. So sometimes things will happen where, though, people will look like they're being skillful and they will really have thought things out, but there's like a cost to it. And it'll look good, but it doesn't look good. That's a lot of times how things will pull you in. Because there's always got to be some sweetness to the deal. When someone's doing things around, dark personalities, there's always, when they're calling you in, there's a connection. There's always a sweetness to a deal for you. But it really ends up not being really that sweet of a deal. It really is a benefit to that other person, and they're really not thinking about you. And, it was the most thing that really hit me was one of the things that they said to me in this situation is, we really need you to be flexible with us. And I thought, huh, you're, this is like a situation where, we're working together. And I really believe that I kind of thought about that for a second. And I thought, so I have to be flexible with you, but you don't have to be flexible with me, is the way it almost came across. And I think things need to be mutual in a lot of these kinds of situations. So I think that really struck a funny chord with me. And so I just kept watching and observing. And then the other thing that I did, which I think is super important, is there something that didn't feel right with me? It didn't sit right. So I just sat with it. Sat with it. And then I went to my people and I said, what's the wise thing to do in this situation? This is what I'm feeling. And I went to several people. I just didn't go to one. And this is why it's so important to have healthy belonging and have people you trust, because they will tell you what, what they're seeing. And you just, you're not going to give them all the whole story. I mean, you're just not, because you're not going to remember the whole story as you're talking to them. You're going to give them bits and pieces. But you want to be as objective as possible, and, be as upfront as possible when you're talking to them. And so as I kept telling people, they kept going, whoa, this doesn't sound right. As I kept writing out the cost versus benefit, like the pros and cons, there were a lot of pros, but the cons were really heavy. And this is the last thing I want to share with you. In situations like this, the less you say, the better you are. Don't give people too much information. You be thankful and you be kind, because you don't want to get in the triangle. And if you don't know what the triangle is, you need to look at my other videos, because I often talk about the triangle. Or you need to get one of my books, because I often talk about the triangle in my books. And my books are quick, easy read. I made them super reasonable, super cheap. The needs languages, you can find the needs languages in dating. The needs languages bring balance and belonging in dating. The needs languages bring balance and belonging in parenting. The needs languages bring balance and belonging at the workplace. The needs languages bring balance and belonging in romantic relationships. Really reasonable, really cheap. I usually talk about the victim, predator, rescuer triangle in all of them and how that works. So they're great tools. They're really helpful. So on that note, I hope that this was helpful for you, but I'm seeing some things forming, and I think it's quite interesting as I'm writing this book that I'm going to probably start seeing more of these things happen. So on that note, I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.